Okay, we are back with our live coverage of Future Proof. The sun is starting to set, so I got rid of the hat, but I still have the shades. And joining me is Mark Gilbert, who is the founder and CEO of Zocks.
Awesome, thanks Chuck, it's great to be here.
It's
I still have
fantastic
my
to have
hat because I'm a little more sun sensitive than most people.
Yes, indeed. Well, I just reapplied. This is like my second time reapplying today. I've never had a conference where I had to reapply sunscreen in between interviews. This is great.
It's a great conference, yeah, it is. It's a beautiful setting. Everything is really nice.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
This particular vantage point does not do it justice, but at some point I think later today we're going to do like a walk around and just get a sense for how this is all set up. It's really like nothing I've ever seen.
It's super, they did a really good job on it. Super impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark, as I mentioned, I've been really looking forward to this. These are one of my favorite segments where I get to play sort of double duty. Now, of course, I'm not a full-time reporter. I actually am the founder and CEO of Sovereign Financial Group, or $1 billion RIA, and we are looking into, like every other RIA out there, AI. So your name obviously comes up, Zocks, Jump comes up. We were talking about this, and obviously I'd be remiss if I didn't talk to at least both of you guys, if not a few more. Situational awareness meter is very low. Live TV, that's okay, we're going to go with it.
It's good to go.
That's the second time that happened. I don't think it could be any more obvious that we're recording something, but
Seems
all
straightforward,
good.
but
It's
I
all
don't
good.
know. Yeah.
It's part of that laid back California thing, I
It
suppose.
is.
It's
You gotta
all
roll
good.
with the live event.
So as I was saying before we had that little transgression, as an advisor looking to get AI for my shop, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk to a few of you guys.
Yeah.
So help me get started, because I'm going to reach out to your team, do the full demo, everything else. At a 30,000 foot level, what's the difference between Zocks and Jump, in your opinion, from what you know?
Yeah, so for us, as we look across the whole spectrum, I'll just say, right? So we see some systems, as you know, that are not focused on financial services. I think the benefit of having one that's vertically focused is obvious to most people as soon as they see a demo. When we get into the ones that we do really kind of more compete with, in the space, so there's a number of those, right? Jumping one of them. I would say the biggest 3 points for us, one is our integrations are just deeper, frankly. I don't know, to be clear, I don't know the Jump product super well. Like we obviously know about them a lot, but I don't use it every day. So I would go do your diligence on everything. But as we look at things like eMoney, we can push in over 200 data points to eMoney. We just launched Orion's integration last week, which is really cool. So you're seeing this velocity of integrations. So that's one big piece. And we've had a lot of people tell us that, especially for longer meetings, like more, I would say, complicated client interactions, like maybe some remote, some in person, hybrid situations, just that we have a really great level of accuracy and detail. So I would say the integrations are a big piece, the detail is a big piece for us, and then just the privacy and security controls that we have kind of across the board that we have a somewhat different approach, and we're very proud of that. So I would say, in general, as people look at us, that there's obviously a lot of configurability and enterprise management for someone of your size, though I would say those are probably the biggest 3 things that come up.
All right, sounds good. And for the record, we are going to be covering a lot of conferences this year. Jump will be at one, and we're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
We like to keep it nice and fair and square. And again, we're not promoting one over the other. We are promoting do your due diligence. That is for sure.
That's a good thing to promote.
Without question. So something that really caught my eye was your recent news that you integrate now with Orion.
Yeah.
I get that conceptually you integrate, but what exactly does that mean? Like, what does that do for me and our advisory team?
100%. So this is a really good example, because we've been telling people for a while. I think when people look at like note takers at the start, right, they think of it as like a CRM add-on kind of thing, frankly.
Yeah.
And there's so much more powerful things that we can do, right? So we now can fill out forms, we can draft replies to client emails, we can do intakes, we can start to automate, plans and all of these things. Orion is really helpful for us and important because there's a few different things we can do there. So first of all, there is data in Orion that we can update. So if you're having a discussion, I'll say with a client, and important data changes that you want in the Orion profile, or frankly need for compliance reasons, we can automatically show you what the before was, show you what the after is, and then you decide and just with a click push it through.
Yeah.
So that's a big piece. The second thing is that we will use the Orion data in both our meeting prep as well as what we call our AI assistant. So essentially you can go in and ask it anything, and just like we will pull from your CRM system, previous conversations, email if you want, we also now can pull from Orion. So where you're starting to, just say, hey, what are their top holdings? Like what's changed in the last 6 months? All of that is now available. Both in Zocks and essentially in like the AI workflows that we're driving. And then shortly what you're also going to see come out, which is really cool, is Orion is very powerful because of its reporting. Like a lot of people use it for that.
Yeah.
And so what we'll actually be able to do is in your pre-meeting prep, link through to the reports that you're using, and then through their API actually trigger refreshes of that report that morning. So we basically can go in and say like, hey, if there's, let's say typically these four reports that we use with clients, whether they're their standard ones or custom ones, you can put those in, and then we'll basically call out to Orion to make sure that they're refreshed, and then we'll put links in those like to those actual report outputs in our prep, so you can just go in and click and go. And what we found is that a lot of the, our goal is really to help the advisors and their teams just be more efficient and more personal with clients. And what we see is they're spending a lot of time today, like literally going into the report in Orion, clicking generate, going to the next one, clicking generate. Like we've talked to admin teams who are losing like an hour in the morning just to literally doing this
Without
with clients.
question. Right.
So all of that's done automatically. The advisor can get it when they want. And yeah, those are the big things I would say right now with the integration. So it's pretty exciting, and you're going to see similar ones come out with kind of their peers pretty shortly, like in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'm really excited to start playing with this thing. It sounds quite exciting. So you touched on a couple of things I was going to ask. So one is with regards to pushing that information back to Orion.
Yeah.
Which makes me nervous.
Yeah.
But you did say that it's going to essentially, I guess, populate a screen or something saying, here's what I'm about to change. Are you sure this is cool? So I do have like a fail-safe, like a human can press okay or not first, yes?
Yeah, that's right. In all of our, what I would call key workflows, the advisor or their team is in the loop. And so you'll see this, whether it's updating Orion, whether it's updating a planning system like eMoney, whether it's updating the profile in a CRM, so not just notes, but like kind of the core profile data.
Yeah.
What we do is we have a view where you can see, here's what's currently in the system. Here is what we think that thing should be if it changed. And then you can either edit it, you can uncheck it if you're like, hey, I want, certain data but not other data. You can just go through and uncheck it and check it, and then you hit go and it'll push whatever you want.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So as far as the emails, so we have Office 365, Orion, and Salesforce. That's how we're set up.
Yeah.
We put into Salesforce the emails that we think are important.
Yeah.
Right, so you have, as you probably know, the ability to put every single email, like,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going? Things are great. Did you see the game? I sure did. I don't need to capture all that.
100%.
So basically, if I feel the email is CRM worthy, I click and it connects,
Pushes
otherwise
over.
it doesn't.
Yep.
So here's my question. Do you have the ability to go into all the emails, including my Office 365?
Yeah, so yeah, we do, and that is a configuration choice you have. So you can do really one of two things. You can say, I'm going to attach Office 365, and we see that sometimes because personal information may be in the email that may be helpful for a pre-meeting prep. So as an example, we had someone recently, like literally before the meeting, the client mailed, and they're like, hey, maybe a few minutes late because there's this like vet appointment with my dog, and they had the dog's name in it. And so we captured the dog's name, and they're like, ask how the dog's doing in the prep, right? Which is like that data in your CRM, you probably wouldn't push in, but it may be helpful.
Yeah.
If you don't want that, because you're like, hey, I just don't want, looking at that stuff, I really want you focused only on CRM, then when we integrate with Salesforce in your situation, we do what we call map the email. And so then basically that email will feed in instead. And it's the same for us with email, calendar, right? Like some people use the calendar in the CRM system. Some people use Outlook, right, as their primary calendar, but sometimes the Outlook calendar has like pick up the kids at soccer, do all these things, and you don't want that, in there. And so we can do either really based on how you're running. So it's just a configuration.
Interesting. And as far as the email, so I've got a lot of personal stuff, like taking the dogs to the vet, which I'm not really good on remembering that type of stuff. It would be nice to have some help with that.
Yeah.
Does the system have the ability to go back through all of my archived emails and create essentially a profile for that client going back the number of years I have the emails?
Yeah, so yes, if you're using Office 365, essentially anything in there we can go back and pull. And so even if you ask Zocks to fill out a form, like maybe an intake form, or do anything, it will go in and look through that email and basically go back It goes back, I actually forget the exact amount of time. By default, I think it goes back about 3 years, which is a lot for most people.
Yeah.
And it'll go through. And what we find is not only like certain advisors, have a lot of that data in email, also just some clients like to communicate in email, right? So there's actually a lot of rich data in email. Like when I talk with my advisor, a lot of it's in email. And then other times that data is more in CRM or somewhere else. And so yeah, we will go across all the data sources, including through all of your old email. We can build up profiles, pre-meeting prep, fill out forms, whatever you want from that.
Very cool. I can't wait for the demo. So there's an expression, I think it's attributed to Bill Gates, and we might have even talked about this before, and I really think it's very applicable for AI, which is people overestimate what new technology is going to do in the short term, but underestimate what it's going to do in the long term.
100%.
Is that the case here?
100%, yeah.
So what's the long term for let's say Zocks in particular? Like what's going to be like, holy smoke, I can't believe it's going to do this in 3 years.
I'll give you a simple example and then I'll zoom it out. So like we've been telling people, like I've spent my career in technology. So as we've been talking to people all year and even last year, right? We're like, hey, this is going to go beyond, it's going to be able to do all these things. When we launched the eMoney integration and then now as well with the Orion integration, immediately, even though we've been saying this to people, you could see their eyes just go wide and they're like, oh, okay, now I can get a plan filled out and like a draft plan out in minutes, right? And same with Orion, like now I can go, like your questions on email, right? Now I can go ask it things, where I think before it was kind of viewed as a note taker, like you're gonna listen and take notes for me. So that's been a big push. And if you just like hit fast forward on that, right, out a few years, what you're going to see is, I think the industry is going to change a lot based on the technology, and what we're going to see is advisors who have very good relationships with their clients and want to build those relationships are going to get supercharged, right? So they can spend more time with their clients, they can spend time with more clients if they want. So if you have kind of like I'll say maybe a tier 2, tier 3 clients that are hard to spend time with, you can now go in and do that because you can prep, run, talk with them, follow up in an hour if that's a 45-minute meeting.
Right.
And what we're also, I think you're going to see, like related to Zocks, but more broadly in the industry, is you're going to see additional AI tools coming in from the side, right? Like estate planning tools, you've seen some of these now and everything else. And so what we expect is that an advisor is actually going to be doing a lot more for their clients. You're going to start to see services that were really only for high net worth people start to be offered more. I'll say like down to the smaller clients, right? Like all the way down to the mass affluent. And that is going to go fairly quickly. Like to your point, everyone who's waiting now is going to need to wait more than a week. But, if we're here next year, you're already going to see that pattern in a very big way. And I would say 24 months from now, it's going to just be the norm that, RIAs are expanding out and doing more and more, either working with more clients, offering more services, or both of those, right? It allows them to monetize it more, allows them to help them more. And frankly, the clients want to be spending time with them and they don't want to be, like going to 5 other people to try to get their life managed, right? Like their financial life managed. So I think that's going to happen a lot, and you'll be amazed at how quickly that goes, right? Like we already have prototypes of like, not just like replying to set up an appointment, but actually just back and forth in email with the client where the AI will just like look at your calendar and be like, oh, Chuck has 3 slots next week. Okay, and we know this is a high price client, so like that actually, you can bump these other things, and basically all of that's just going to flow for you. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, but it really
as
you
it's
said,
something.
It's exactly as that quote says, right? Like the days are long and the years are short kind of thing, and everyone underestimates, overestimates 1 year and underestimates 10. Yeah. I 100% agree, 100%.
All right. Well, I tell you what, that's a good place to put a pin in it for today. So Mark Gilbert, Zocks, thanks again for joining us.
Awesome.
To be continued.
Thanks, Chuck. I really appreciate it. Have a great show.
I appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that's it for this particular segment. We have one more coming. I'm going to reapply my sunscreen. We'll be back in about another hour. Thanks for joining us, and Mark, thanks again.
Awesome.